Let's go back to this old school rivalry. The Celtics and the Lakers played in one of the most anticipated matchups of the regular season this weekend. It was
Mm-hmm.
fascinating first half before the Celtics came away in the third quarter and kind of blew the game wide open. Took the foot off the gas a little bit going into the fourth, but they still sealed out the win. What really stood out to you from this game? Because for me, we talk about the rivalries and the intensity. That was one of the few regular season matchups I've seen this season where it felt like both teams were really geared up for the
Mm-hmm.
intensity of this matchup. My favorite play of the game was, where Jaylen Brown in transition after a defensive stop hits Al Horford. He dunks and he kind of swings on the basket accidentally, maybe not accidentally, kind of hits Luka with his leg while he's on the way down from hanging on the bucket. And you could really see the tone being set early that this, even though it's a regular season game, because of the history of these two franchises, and now the expectations that the Lakers might be in the finals and the Celtics are the defending
Mm-hmm.
champions, the intensity was really there, and it was a really fun game to watch. But what were your takeaways from this one?
Well, first, I'll start off by saying that it was clear to me that both teams understood the meaning of this regular season game. Let's start with the Lakers first. The Lakers had been on a 8-game winning streak coming into this. We've watched how Luka and LeBron have started to form a real fluid and efficient, effective partnership on the court, and it's impacted and improved the performances of those around them. So they understood that they were coming on the road to play the defending world champions, and they wanted to go in and make a statement. I'm sure that, okay, and use this game as a barometer of where we're really at. Can we challenge to win it all this year? So you could tell that with the urgency what they started the game with, and again the back and forth nature of that first half was some really great basketball and enjoyable basketball to watch. And from the Celtics perspective, again, Boston, LA is always a big game, but the Celtics were saying, okay, there's a lot of attention being showered here. Now we've got to get through the Eastern Conference first, but just in case we see these guys in the finals, we got to let them know what they're up against. And I really thought Jason Tatum was excellent in the game. I mean, he definitely made his case for why he should be at minimum first team All NBA and still should get some consideration for MVP, even though I digress. That's going to be Shea Gilgeous Alexander, but he was phenomenal in that game. Just how he played in both ends, as was his running mate Jaylen Brown. I thought he was really key and pivotal in this performance, and here's why. He really takes on the challenge of playing and competing against Luka Doncic. He's same size as Luka. He's extremely strong. He's strong like Luka, but he's much more athletic. His quickness, Luka's not able to bully Jaylen Brown. He's not able to really back him down. And Jaylen Brown has figured out what he did in the finals last year, extending his defense up the floor, picking Luka up three-quarter court, at half court, not allowing him to establish any momentum. Now I know Luka ended up finishing with scoring, I don't know what he scored, 30 points in that game or
Yeah,
close to 40.
34.
But yeah, but when that game was in the balance and when the Celtics made their big run in the third, I really thought that Jaylen Brown did a phenomenal job on him defensively and went at him on the other end, on the defensive end, because you saw Luka a few times in this game kind of revert back to that Luka in Dallas where you see him, if he didn't get a call, he stopped and argued, and the action
Hmm.
is going the other
And
way, missed some defensive assignments, rotations that he was making a little bit earlier in his Lakers tenure, was not making them in that game. So it was just interesting to watch all of that unfold. Dallas, I mean, Boston let me know in watching them that they're going to be up to the challenge of trying to defend their title because they do just enough to win. And remember, they won this game without Kristaps Porzingis, and they won this game with an Al Horford, he's another ageless wonder, who I thought did a tremendous job when they were switching defensively. And when he switched on to Luka, whoever he switched on to, did a phenomenal job defensively in a one-on-one in those situations. So
Yeah.
kudos to Boston, but great for the league to see those two iconic organizations compete like they did.
I think the standout thing in Luka's stat line is he only had 3 assists. And this is a guy who averages near double digit assists. And the reason for that is most teams have to double a player like Luka Doncic. But the Celtics are happy to live with single coverage on most players in the league because they believe
Mhm.
in any of their 5 guys being able to guard. So,
Mhm.
JJ Redick's game plan to start this one was to get Luka switched on to, either Al Horford or Peyton Pritchard and try and go at these
Mhm.
guys one on one. And they held their ground. And when they didn't
Mhm.
switch and Jaylen Brown was just guarding him, you kind of saw this in the Knicks game with OG Anunoby because there's not a lot of players who have the size and the strength, but also the kind of speed to be able to anticipate what Luka's doing because of his deceleration, even though Luka's not a really quick player. So it's really a credit to the defensive identity of the Boston Celtics that they can play single coverage and be happy with any of the guys on the court guarding anyone on the other team one on one. And then, my favorite play, as I spoke about before, if you watch it carefully, Al Horford on that dunk I spoke about before gets up the court quicker. 38-year-old Al Horford gets up the court quicker in transition than Luka Doncic. That
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
to me, I just looked at that and I thought, man, I think Al Horford might be one of the most underrated players we have in the NBA because at the age of 38, he does a great job on Embiid every time they play. He does a great job on Giannis every time they play. He did a great job on Luka. He did a great job on LeBron, and he's not even known as a defensive player. He's not got a reputation like that. But any matchup that he's handed, he holds it down. Big Al at 38 years old.
Yeah, Al Horford is a winner, and look, he won back-to-back national championships in college. Now he may, I believe, be the first player with the chance to win back-to-back collegiate titles and then come to the NBA and win back-to-back titles.
I think so.
Yeah, he may be the only one. If there's somebody else, obviously it's a very small list, but just think about that. The the guy's impact on winning. That just lets me know that he's willing to do whatever it takes for the team to be successful because he's had different roles on, you know, this role on the championship teams in college, a little different than what they are now in the pros, and he's improved his game each and every season as a pro. A lot of respect for that guy.
BJ, what were your thoughts watching this one?
Well, I think you guys covered it, and you see that the Celtics, if anything, they still have the competitive fire that's necessary to win a championship. So the one thing that I will give them, which you always have to look out for, is do you have that what I call that championship layover? Well, we won, and then all of a sudden you don't have the same fire, if you will, or same energy to go out there and execute. Well, they showed that to me. They were ready, they were prepared, but more importantly, that they went out there and executed what needed to be executed, not just with the first effort, but the second and third efforts. They were still getting loose balls and they accepted the challenge from the opposing team. So that's a plus. However, I'm very concerned about this team because when you start having your 38, 39-year-old players like Al Horford, who we should be singing his praise, and now he's starting to get into a space where arguably you may say, is he a Hall of Famer, from the DR and what he's been able to achieve, not only as a professional, but what he did, as Scott pointed out, collegiately, when you start seeing him playing 37, 38 minutes in a regular season. That takes his toll at 38, 39, especially the way he plays. So I am really concerned about the depth of this team right now because Porzingis has not been healthy. Okay. I don't know where his health will stand as far as his availability moving forward. Al can't keep continue to play
Yeah.
37, 38 minutes.
Mhm.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are phenomenal, but you don't want to load them up where all of a sudden they don't have the same energy that's going to be necessary in the playoffs. As we know, they're going to be priority 1 and 2 going into this to this playoff run. So I'm a little concerned about their depth. I think it was Scott who said that at the beginning of the season. And when you
Mhm.
start seeing 2, 3, 4 players begin to play 40 minutes plus to win a regular season game, no matter how important that game is, you always have to get concerned with that because now you're playing with fire a little bit. So hopefully this team will stay healthy. We want them to stay healthy, right? So we can observe
absolutely.
this. But if for some reason things don't go perfect or someone has to miss a substantial amount of time or any amount of time, that could be a game changer for this team. They are a championship caliber team, however. Other than that, they look great. We haven't spoken about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think they're on another current winning streak of
14 games.
14 games.
Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah,
So they're playing
And
great
the Milwaukee
basketball.
Bucks have been really good since the All-Star break.
Yes, they
Yeah.
have, and for them to go in and beat Milwaukee last night.
But I really loved what I saw from the Celtics. But if there's one thing that I did see is that I think they only played like 8 and 9 players during that game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like say
They
8 and
played
9, I can't
Pritchard,
remember.
Cornet, and Hauser off the bench.
So they only played 8 players.
Yeah.
I'm concerned with that. Okay, I'm concerned with that. And those guys are young enough, Tatum and Brown, to do and carry that load. But I am concerned because they needed they needed that level of contribution from one big, and that was Al Horford. And hey, the big fella is always good for 1 or 2 games in a playoff series. He is okay.
Yeah.
But now we're asking him to reach into the bag earlier. Okay. And remember, the Lakers did not have, was it Jackson Hayes, right? I don't think he
Yeah,
didn't
they
play
did.
that
They were
game.
playing with without their
So they
center.
did. So they didn't play with the big. But give the Celtics credit. They deserve the praise. They matched it. Da 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 da. But just remember now, you're looking at these things because those things carry over, and that's a lot of minutes. That's a lot. Those are a lot of minutes for Al Horford during the regular season.
But Porzingis is going to be key.
Yeah.
The fact he has to be, for them to repeat, in my opinion, he has to be healthy for the entire playoff run. Can't be a series here, a series there. Upset. He needs to get help.
He's not listed
Last
out
few
with an
weeks of the
injury.
season-
It's a non-COVID illness. I'm not sure what the illness is, but that's what's kept
Okay.
him out for like the last 5 games.
Yeah, but they're going to need him to have to finish out this season and be healthy throughout the playoffs, in my opinion.